Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie Livingston with Want Leverage Communications, and it's great to be back here for another edition of my semi weekly podcast, PR Patter, where I chat with the amazing people from across my public relations and marketing network. If you like what you see, please go to wantleverage.com and download our new tip sheet on how to get the best strategies for using LinkedIn as a PR tool. You're going to love it. It's got fantastic, actionable insights on how to use the LinkedIn platform as a public relations platform to get out your thought leadership. Today, I'm just delighted to have my special guest, Patrice Tanaka, join me. Welcome, Patrice.
Aloha.
Aloha. Patrice is a best-selling author, public speaker on business and life purpose, serial entrepreneur, and co-founder of 3 award-winning public relations and marketing agencies, the consultancy Joyful Planet and the 501c3 Joyful Planet Foundation. Her work through both Joyful Planet entities is focused on building purpose-driven individuals and organizations, and we're going to hear more about that in a bit. Life and organizational purpose, as you probably guessed, are the subjects of Patrice's best-selling books, Beat the Curve and Performance 360. And she's been honored by so many organizations for creativity, top PR and marketing campaigns of the year and decade, career achievement, including the PR Week Hall of Fame, Best Workplace, Corporate Social Responsibility, Public Service, Entrepreneurship, Mentoring, and Leadership in Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Something that we still continue to support. I hope that most companies continue to support. She serves or has served as a director for many organizations committed to youth development, girl and women's leadership development, women's health, healthcare for underserved communities, gender equity, closing the racial wealth gap, DEI, and social justice. Patrice was born and raised in Hawaii, therefore the aloha, but has lived in New York City for most of her adult life. And she calls Hawaii home and is committed to living her life with aloha spirit. I love that. Her vision is a joyful planet of 8 billion people actively living their purpose and leveraging their talent, expertise, and passion in service of other people and our planet. So welcome again, Patrice. You've gotten so many accolades in the PR and marketing space. What did you do when you retired from the PR business?
Well, I love my career in PR, and thank you for having me as a guest today, Julie. You and I go back a long ways to our days as members of New York Women in Communications, which I'm still involved with. But after I retired from my 35 plus year career in PR and marketing, I had a non-compete, so I couldn't start another PR agency, and I really didn't want to at the time. So I looked back over my life and career and tried to think about what I wanted to do next. And I decided to start a consultancy called Joyful Planet, which is focused, as you said, on building purpose-driven individuals and organizations, because I realized in looking back over my life and career that the 2 most important things I ever did to unleash greater success was to, 1, discover and articulate a business purpose for my first agency, and 2, many years later, to discover and articulate my own life purpose when I was forced to do this by an executive coach. And I've been living my life purpose now for 23 years, and it has really helped me to move forward fully in my life. So it's not a surprise that I discovered my life purpose many years ago in 2002. And that life purpose was to choose joy, be mindful of joy, share joy with others. And then 13 years later, I started a consultancy called Joyful Planet. You can see the direct line trajectory, right? Choosing joy, and then some years later, starting Joyful Planet. So, and I've kind of beyond Joyful Planet, which I started in September 2015. Last October, I started a 501c3 called the
Wow.
Joyful Planet Foundation, which is an extension of my work through Joyful Planet LLC, but it's very focused on um, supporting nonprofit leadership development programs that serve diverse emerging leaders who are committed to creating a more equitable, inclusive, and joyful planet. So that is my current work through my Joyful Planet Foundation, and really excited about that.
You know, one of the things I admire about you, and there are so many, is your positivity, and you just you just radiate that, and so I really appreciate that about you. Um, well, how do you define purpose, and how does it relate to one's life and career, Patrice?
Yeah. No, thank you. That's a really good question, because whenever I mention life purpose, people immediately jump in and start talking about how much they hate their job, and they're even thinking of quitting and changing careers. And I have to say, hold on a minute, because a life purpose isn't specific to your job. A life purpose, as it suggests, overarches your entire life, right? And a life purpose is about how you will leverage your talent, your expertise, and your passion in service of other people and our planet. So, if your life purpose does not clearly communicate how you are in service to others, it's really not a life purpose. It might be your goals and dreams, but it's not a life purpose.
Right, got it. Okay. And why? So, why do you describe purpose as a competitive advantage? I mean, that's our title for today's chat: is competitive. Purpose as a competitive advantage.
Yeah, because I think if you have clarity about why exactly you are here on earth and what
Right.
you are here on earth to do, it will inform every decision you make going forward, right? Most people don't have that clarity, but they're still making decisions about their everyday life, right? And every decision you make creates the future that you're creating, right? So it makes more sense to create the future that you desire, and to accomplish what is most important to you in life, and to do it in the most efficient way possible. Because as entrepreneurs, as people who are alive, on earth, not knowing how long or how short our lives are, you want to be as, you know, efficient as possible in accomplishing what matters most. So, having clarity about your life purpose, and I'm talking clarity, not just a fuzzy sense of what you think your life
Yeah.
purpose
Yeah.
is. If you can't articulate your life purpose in a succinct statement of 20 to 30 words, then you don't have, you know, clarity. And really, it's that clarity that can serve as a mantra, as a personal affirmation. And I tell people, once I help you finalize your life purpose statement, and you have that clarity of your life purpose in 20 to 30 words, I need you to repeat it to yourself daily like a mantra, because every time you say your life purpose, it's an affirmation, it's a commitment to you living your life purpose. And then I tell people, beyond just saying your life purpose, um, you should do something every single day, whether it's big or small. Just take one action to actively living your life purpose. And you'll be surprised, like with any behavior, if you take an
Sure.
action
Sure.
every day,
It
at
makes
the
it
end of
real.
a month or a year, you will have taken 365 actions to actively living your purpose. And then you're going to be doing it, kind of unconsciously. And it's just the way that you are being in the world. Okay.
And doesn't that give you a greater sense of fulfillment?
Yes. Well, because I say that when we accomplish what is most important for us to do every day, taking little actions, big actions to accomplishing what is most important, what that does is it unleashes greater success, fulfillment, and joy in our lives. It's really kind of unleashing our own leadership potential, uh, and achieving what we say is most important. And in the process, you can imagine how much greater fulfillment and joy you're experiencing, not just in your personal life, but in your workplace and in your
Sure.
communities.
Because
Because,
you're on sort of an even track, you know,
yeah,
you
yeah,
feel more grounded, I think, and
yeah.
more
Plus,
connected.
I also think it's a public service because if you are living your life purpose and you're experiencing fulfillment and joy, and you're when you engage with other people, that's the self that you're bringing to engaging with other people. And I think all of us kind of instinctively don't want to engage with negative or confused or bad energy, right?
Yeah.
And so let's bring our, most fulfilled and joyful self to the world, to other people, right? And make that impact.
I couldn't agree more. What questions do you have to kind of ask yourself and ponder to identify your purpose?
Yeah. When I was forced to discover my purpose by my executive coach 23 years ago, and she didn't tell me how to do it, she just said, think about it and come back to me at our next session in 2 weeks and tell me what you think your life purpose is. So, of course, because my training in communications, taught me how to, kind of think through. Um, uh, Difficult questions, and to kind of tackle difficult challenges. I just kind of brainstormed with myself, and I considered and rejected many possible life purpose statements. And then when I started helping other people, I realized, let me help them by giving them a questionnaire.
Or
And
like a roadmap, kind of.
well, if they answer this 11 question questionnaire, it's called My Life Purpose. If they answer every question as fully as they can, their responses to their own questionnaire will give them an idea of what their purpose might be. And at the very end, I ask them, based on your own responses to the 11 questions, what do you think your life purpose is? And this is where people find it difficult sometimes to actually think through all of their responses and come up with a succinct 20 to 30 word statement. So then I ask them to email this back to me, their completed questionnaire with the first iteration of their life purpose statement. And I'll read through everything and come back to them with what I think it should be. And we go back and forth until they feel that it is
Right.
accurate, inspiring, and galvanizing to them. Because if it's not galvanizing, they're not going to embrace it and they're not going to actively live it. So for me, that's a litmus test. Are they excited about their life purpose? And even if it might be a little scary, because what I try not to do is set the bar so low that, oh yeah, you can easily live your life purpose. If you live your life purpose where we've set the bar high, then you will become stronger every single day and better equipped to achieve what you say is most important to you. So,
It's a
anyway,
great exercise. It's just such an important exercise, I think, to live your life on a higher plane like that.
yes.
Um, so what are some of the pitfalls? What if you don't have a purpose or you're not clear on your purpose? What are some of the pitfalls there?
Well, I think if you don't have clarity about your life purpose, then you move forward in life and you make decisions based on what is presented to you, right? here's Here's two jobs. You could take this job or that job, and then your decision process has to do with, okay, what has a higher salary, a better title, more benefits, those kinds of things, rather than, if you had clarity about your life purpose, it would inform every choice, every decision you make, including which of these two jobs you should choose. And frankly, if you know your life purpose might tell you pretty clearly that neither of these jobs are what you should take because they are not going to help you achieve what is most important. So it's a great filtering process. So if you don't have that filtering process, a lot of times we make decisions based on who's asking us to do something or what job are people kind of encouraging me to take versus this one versus that one. You're making decisions not in the best possible way. It should be, you know, decisions that are, self driven and self focused, right? What is in your best interest that will help you accomplish what is most important for you to do?
Right. And when you do that, you could really feel and see the difference.
Yes. And this is why I think that everyone 18 years and older should have clarity about their life and leadership purpose, especially 18-year-olds, because
Interesting.
it will help, it will inform every decision they make going forward, whether they should go to college, whether go to a trade school, whether do something different, right? And if they decide to go to college, what classes should they take? What major might they decide upon? What internships should they apply for? And then when they graduate, what jobs should they apply for? What volunteer opportunities? It will inform all of those decisions. Absent clarity about your life purpose, I think a lot of college students are just driven by, oh, my mother wants me to go to this college. My
Right.
friends are going there, so I think I'll go there. And
This
my
is the
friends,
most prestigious college I could get into, or
yeah, my friends majoring in whatever. Maybe I'll major in that, maybe, so we can study together. All of these insane reasons for choosing, you know, making important decisions. And I tell young people, because I work with a lot of 18-year-olds and, emerging young leaders, I say, if you take the time right now to discover and actively live your purpose right now, it will save you from having a quarter century life crisis. Because once you get to 25 and
yeah,
you
wow.
listen to everyone else, and then at 25, it's like, why did I choose this job? I hate this job, that kind of thing. I don't want people to have to waste time like that. The other thing is that most people put off discovering their life purpose until much later in life, in their 40s or 50s. And usually it's on the heels of some major life event, like they lost a job, lost their career, got a divorce, spouse died, children left the nest, and all of a sudden they have more time to reevaluate their
Yeah,
life and
yeah.
consider whether it's how they want to live the rest of their life. And I discovered my life purpose when I was 50, right? Now I'm glad I did, because hopefully I'll live, many years beyond that. But I want people 18 years, early 20s to discover their purpose, because then they'll have a longer time horizon to accomplish what matters most to them, right? And live a much more fulfilled and joyful life in the process, right? Not wait till they have a breakdown at 50 and
Oh
then,
my God. That's the worst. You're
yeah,
at such a deficit then,
exactly,
because you're in a
exactly.
state of panic. But how
But,
do
but,
eight?
but,
Yeah,
even if at 50 you decide, okay, now is the time I'm actually going to discover my life purpose, that's a good thing, because
sure,
you could live another 10, 20, 30 years, right?
sure.
And you might as well live it in a more fulfilled and joyful way, right? So there's never a bad time. I just want
No.
people to discover and so they can actively live their purpose earlier. That's all.
And do you find that working with young people that they have the wherewithal to really think these kind of things through?
I think, given what's happened in the world in the past 5 years,
Yeah.
with global pandemic, racial injustice, riots, insurrection, war, increasing polarization and disinformation, rising hate, and a hostile presidential election, and now, whatever, less than 200 days into the new Trump administration, I think a lot of people, a lot of young people, are reevaluating their lives, and they are thinking about purpose. Like, what? Why am I
Interesting.
here? And so this is a great time to do this exercise, because I have, as I said, I've been living my purpose for 23 years. And because my purpose is to choose joy, be mindful of joy, share joy with others, the past 5 years, despite everything that we've gone through, as I just, kind of reiterated, have has been probably the most productive and joyful years of my life.
Wow.
So, and again, it's not because of what's happening externally. It's because I am focused and driven, self focused and self driven by my own life purpose. So, despite whatever is happening externally, I'm just going to remain focused on living my purpose. And part of that has meant that beyond my Joyful Planet LLC consultancy, last October I started a 501c3 called the Joyful
I'd
Planet.
love to hear more about that.
Yeah, thank you. And so that's the work that I am committed to doing right now. And through my Joyful Planet Foundation, I work with nonprofit leadership development programs serving diverse emerging leaders who are committed to creating a more equitable, inclusive, and joyful planet, right? So that means I've been working with groups like the Diversity Action Alliance, PRSA, the Harvard Alumni for Business for Black Advancement, the Global Health Corps, the Center for Asian Pacific American Women, and a lot of other great groups who are committed to creating a more equitable, inclusive, and joyful planet. So the fact that my work is focused and centered on helping these emerging, diverse emerging leaders do exactly that gives me a lot of hope and optimism for today and tomorrow's
Sure.
leaders. Yeah.
You're laying the groundwork for them to succeed.
Yeah.
Can you, now you've authored a number of books. Can you recommend any related books on purpose that we might be able to look at,
Yeah. Over the
study?
years, I've read a lot of different books, lot of different articles, and there are, every day there's another article on the benefit of living a purpose-driven life, or the greater productivity and profitability that organizations experience when they are driven by and have operationalized their business purpose. But three books that I think are ones that people should read if they are interested in the whole idea of living a more purpose driven life. Man's Search for Meaning, by Viktor E. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor. And this is a classic. It's probably been translated into every language on earth, and it's still relevant and resonant. So, Man's Search for Meaning. There's also a book called Ikigai, the
Ah,
Japanese secret to a long and happy life. Ikigai means reason for being. And then there's Simon Sinek, who's who's always doing fabulous TED Talks and has written a number of books. And his book, Start with Why, is one that people should read. You can also download for free from my joyfulplanet.com website chapters from my two best selling books. And these chapters talk about live your life purpose and unleash joy. And the other one, purpose, a competitive advantage in business and life. And for those of you interested in receiving my 11-question My Life Purpose Questionnaire, please email me, Patrice at joyfulplanet.com, and I'll be happy to send you the My Life Purpose Questionnaire so you can answer the questions to help you discover and articulate your life purpose so you can begin to actively live it.
oh, that's wonderful. I'm going to do that
Good.
right away. Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Patrice. This has been such a A wonderful conversation, and you've totally inspired me. I'm sure you've
Oh,
inspired many others. So people can always reach you on LinkedIn or at Patrice at joyfulplanet.com.
perfect.
Um, Everyone else, so I'll see you next time on another episode of PR Patter. And check out my website at wantleverage.com for my new tip sheet, PR for LinkedIn, how to use the tips that PR teams swear by. I will hopefully see you all soon. Thank you.